We're live. Let's read. Jeremiah 24. Yahweh showed me, and look, there were 2 baskets of figs set before the Hakal of Yahweh, after Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, had exiled Yechoniah, son of Jehoiakim, sovereign of Yehuda, and the heads of Yehuda, with the craftsmen and smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babel. 1 basket had very good figs, like the figs that are ripe, and the other basket had very spoiled figs, which could not be eaten. They were so spoiled. And Yahweh said to me, "What do you see, Yirmiyahu?" And I said, "Figs, the good figs, very good, and the spoiled, very spoiled, which could not be eaten. They are so spoiled." Again, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, so he's seen figs, good figs and bad figs, the fruit of the tree. Again, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, this is the time we're going into. August 26th, the gavel will drop. Judgment starts. Our trees have been raised. Kind of terrified, still have bad fruit. Let's read on. Thus said Yahweh, the Elohim of Yisrael, like these good figs, so do I acknowledge the exiles of Yehuda, whom I have sent out of this place for their own good into the land of the Chasdean. And I shall set my eyes on them for good, and shall bring them back to this land. And I shall build them and not pull them down, and shall plant them and not pluck them up. And I shall give them a heart to know me, that I am Yahweh, and they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim. For they shall turn back to me with all their heart. And as the spoiled figs that could not be eaten, because they are so spoiled, for thus said Yahweh, so do I give up Siddiqiyahu, the sovereign of Yehuda, his heads, the rest of Jerusalem, who remain in this land, and those who dwell in the land of Mitzrayim. And I shall make them a horror to all the reigns of the earth, for evil to be a reproach and a byword, a mockery and a curse, in all the places to which I drive them. And I shall send the sword, the scarcity of food, and the pestilence among them, till they are consumed from the land that I gave them and their fathers. Well, that's kind of ominous. Yahweh loves America. He's not having it. There's a lot of bad in this land. There's a lot of good in this land. Let's focus on the good. Myself included. He's seen the good that we've done. Let's do more. Go out and be the light. He's the circuit. Power comes from him, goes into you, so that you can be effective. The vacuum cleaner, the laptop. If you don't use what he's given you, it's ineffective. To be plugged into him is one thing. It's not good enough. Because if the tree doesn't bear fruit, what good is the tree? The point of the tree is to sustain life for those around it. It bears the fruit gets eaten, and that's how more trees are made. So if we don't spread our fruit, if we don't bear our fruit for it to be eaten by others, we're a dead tree. Cursed is this tree, for it does not bear fruit, said Yeshua. Jeremiah 25. The word that came to Yirmiyahu concerning all the people of Yehuda in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, son of Yoshiahu, the sovereign of Yehuda, which was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel. Which Yirmiyahu the prophet spoke to all the people of Yehuda and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, From the 13th year of Yoshiahu, son of Ammon, sovereign of Yehuda, even to this day, this is the 23rd year in which the word of Yahweh has come to me. And I have spoken to you, rising early and speaking, but you have not listened. I said stop at the period, but I stopped at the verse. There's 2 periods. So anyway, so the time is cyclical. I've seen this, looks like a spiral staircase around an arrow of time. Like, like a firefighter pole, the arrow, and then the spiral staircase. It goes like around. I don't know if it goes left or right. It doesn't matter. But time is cyclical. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Because as the events line up, they mirror and they reflect. And so when you've got a thing over here, like Nebuchadnezzar taking over Israel and the reign of Babel, so too we come on the other side. There's a reflection. This reflection is the beginning of the takeover of Nebuchadnezzar and Babel in present day. Once we get to the other side, underneath the takeover, it'll occur. So said the prophet. Moreover, Yahweh has sent to you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them. But you have not listened nor inclined your ear to hear. Saying, Turn back now, everyone, from his evil way, and from the evil of your deeds, and dwell on the soil which Yahweh has given to you, and your fathers forever and ever. And do not go after other mighty ones to serve them and bow down to them. And do not provoke me with the works of your hands, so that I do you no evil. But you did not listen to me, declares Yahweh, so as to provoke me with the works of your hands for your own evil. Therefore, thus said Yahweh of hosts, because you did not obey my words. Okay. prophets have been sent. There you go. They've warned. We're not talking, although I do believe in the Torah, we're not talking about the Torah. We're talking about minute details. Conducting yourselves in a heartless manner. Walking about your day, turning your back to the opportunities to serve him, but to loving people, to acknowledging that there's people around you. I was in a parking lot the other day, and this lady missed her parking space and backed up, was not stopping to back up. And I have a witness on this. Was not stopping to back up and would not have stopped to back up had I not beeped my horn. There was nowhere for me to go. I was already in the parking spot, and to back up would have put me in the road where other cars were coming. There was nowhere to go. This lady had no sense of my presence. She existed with herself as the center of the universe. I don't mean to call this one lady out. It's not the point. The point is that you are not the center of the universe. To disregard humanity around you, not just humanity, existence around you. Whether you expect other people to move every time you walk, expect an animal to move when you walk, like it's supposed to obey you, like you're the god. This presence and lack of awareness turn back now, everyone from his evil way, and from the evil of your deeds. Forget about the child sacrifice of the abortion laws. I mean, don't forget about it because it's there. It's ever present in front of us. Talking about 9-month abortion. But that's an effect. That's having no regard for life, for existence. And as we come out of this transgender, castrationary mutilation of youth, we go deeper, more obvious, down the well, pulling up buckets of vile, poison. I'm seeing a well full of that green, that neon green nuclear waste. Buckets going deeper. Waste, a waste of life. Talking about generational. Failure to value the next generation is that it has devalued you. Your cause is greater. Your cause is greater. You're very much better. You can do better. You've not seen this. The opportunity for us is not to reflect our past, but to create a better future. This requires presence. And do not go after other mighty ones to serve them and to bow down to them. And do not provoke me with the works of your hands, so that I do you no evil. He has no problem smiting us. He doesn't have to. He doesn't want to. Do you know evil? He's very happy for us to do good works. Bless us. But with the wrath coming upon us, we have to acknowledge our works, which got us here, which brought us to this place. Turn back now, everyone, from his evil way, and from the evil of your deeds, and dwell on the soil. This Revelation 16. 17. $18. Revelation 16. And I heard a loud voice from the dwelling place saying to the seven messengers, "Go and pour out the bowls of the wrath of Elohim on the earth." And the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth. And an evil and wicked sore came upon the men, those having the mark of the beast, and those worshipping his image. And the second messenger poured out his bowl on the sea, and it became blood, as of a dead one, and every living creature in the sea died. And the third messenger poured out his bowl on the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. What is life? Blood contains the life force. Spirit is in the breath. It's always breathed in. John 21, Ezekiel 37, Genesis 1. Uh, the spirit is in the breath. The blood carries the oxygen, carries the breath to the other parts of the body. The blood is the neural network in the body of Christ. Communion, communion, community, commune with each other. Take the body first, and then we take the blood. We'll come back to that. But if you drink blood, it's not going to hydrate you. You can't sustain life on the blood. The blood is the life, but it can't be sustained, can't be used to sustain life. Trees don't have blood. Animals have blood, which we don't eat. Antifreeze, coolant, that refrigerator coolant, must be converted to cool. Need the electricity, which is the circuit. Need your coolant, your R134. Your compressor kicks on. The refrigerant absorbs the heat inside the fridge. So does water. A special fluid called a refrigerant flows through. Okay. Inside the refrigerator are coils called the evaporator. A special fluid called refrigerant flows through these coils. At low pressure, the refrigerant evaporates, changes from liquid to gas, absorbing heat from the food and air inside the fridge. Makes the inside colder. The compressor squeezes the refrigerant. Now the warm refrigerant gas travels to the compressor, usually located at the back or bottom of the refrigerator. Compressing the gas raises both its pressure and temperature. The refrigerant releases heat outside the fridge. The hot, high pressure gas flows through the condenser coils on the back or underneath the refrigerator. As room air passes over these coils, the refrigerant releases its heat into the room. The refrigerant cools and condenses back into a liquid. The pressure drops. The liquid refrigerant passes through a tiny opening called an expansion valve or capillary tube. Its pressure drops suddenly, making it very cold. It returns to the evaporator coils, ready to absorb more heat. That's what happens when we drink water in the body, the blood. You can't use the blood the way that you would use the water because the blood is already full of the life. The water can be turned into the life, but the blood has the life. So you would super saturate the blood if you tried to drink the blood. If you're consuming the blood, there's no more room for life to be added to the liquid. But it can be with water. However, and it became blood as of a dead one. Blood as of a dead one. It's cold and it pools. There's no more circulation to it. It stops pumping. Doesn't get the oxygen. There's no spirit. So although it's saturated with life, there's no spirit. First bowls poured out on the earth, all the earth, on the earth, the land. We have a guest. This is actually my witness for the car lady. Yo, I'm doing a live stream on YouTube right now. You wanna watch?
Yeah, I guess. I just took off early from home.
Okay.
What are you doing on YouTube?
Reading the Bible. I'm in Revelation 16. Check it out, Dylan Bibles.
All right, I guess.
I talked about our experience at the mall the other day.
Mall.
Yeah,
Right at the mall.
in the parking lot.
Oh, the lady that almost hit you in the car.
Yeah,
That's what you're talking about?
I talked about that. But yeah, check it out. All right, I'm getting back to it.
All right,
Bye. All right. The second messenger poured out his bowl on the sea, and it became blood, as of a dead one. And every living creature in the sea died. And the third messenger poured out his bowl on the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. The life was saturated. The water became blood. In the sea, the salty water, and then the fresh water. It's got life. The salty water. All right. So and an evil and wicked sore came upon the men, those having the mark of the beast and those worshiping his image. It doesn't connect with the body. It can't. It's foreign. Doesn't mix with the blood. It doesn't allow the life. And the potential for new believers yearning, although they're salty, they yearn for what is. They become the blood of a dead one. They're full of life, but not spirit. Every living creature in the sea died. The doors are closing. 9 days. And the third messenger poured out his bowl on the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. It's interesting that the salty water becomes blood first, as of a dead one. And they became blood. Those who have no zeal become living, become life. Still no spirit. These become spirit. First Thessalonians 2:4. But as we have been approved by Elohim to be entrusted with the good news, so we speak, not as pleasing men, but Elohim who proves our hearts. 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 The hearts pump the blood. And who do we please? Father, I pray, let me not be seen, but let you be seen. those without the potential for spirit, the salty ones. You were the salt of the earth. You were the ones who make the good, the salt of the earth people, the people who will give anything for you, give you the shirt off their back. If somebody wants your outer garment, give them your inner garment. The empty ones, the NPCs, become alive. They become crucial players in this next phase. It doesn't say anything about death in the rivers and fountains of water. So the salty ones who don't capitulate, don't obey God, become the dead. The NPCs who were indifferent the whole time have an opportunity for life. Let's read on. And I heard the messenger of the waters saying, "You are righteous, O Yahweh, the one who is, and who was, and who shall be, because you have judged these." Jeremiah 25, verse 8. Therefore, thus said Yahweh of hosts, because you did not obey my words, see, I am sending and taking all the tribes of the north, declares Yahweh, and Nebuchadnezzar, the sovereign of Babel, my servant, and shall bring them against this land, and against its inhabitants, and against these nations all around, and shall put them under the ban, and make them an astonishment and a hissing. We're going to the next prophet here. Ezekiel 36:19. And I scattered them among the nations, and they were dispersed throughout the lands. I have judged them according to their ways and their deeds. It's Ezekiel 36. Shall bring them against this land and against its inhabitants and against these nations all around, and shall put them under the ban. Ezekiel 36:18. So I poured out my wrath on them for the blood they had shed on the land, and for their idols they defiled it. 36:20. When they came to the nations, wherever they went, they profaned my set apart name, and it was said of them, "These are the people of Yahweh," and yet they have gone out of his land. But I had compassion on my set apart name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the nations wherever they went. Therefore say to the house of Israel, thus said the Master Yahweh, I do not do this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my set apart name's sake, which you have profaned among the nations wherever you went. And make them an astonishment and a hissing and everlasting ruins. And I shall banish from them the voice of rejoicing, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones, and the light of the lamp. And all this land shall be a ruin and a waste, and these nations shall serve the sovereign of Babel 70 years. And it shall be, when 70 years are completed, and I shall punish the sovereign of Babel and that nation, the land of the Chasdim, for their crookedness, declares Yahweh, and shall make it everlasting ruins. And I shall bring on that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, all that are written in this book. 16:6, because they have shed the blood of the set apart ones and prophets, and you have given them blood to drink, for they deserve it. And I heard another out of the slaughter place saying, Yes, Yahweh, El Shaddai, true and righteous are your judgments. And the fourth messenger poured out his bowl on the sun, and it was given to him to burn men with fire. And men were burned with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of Elohim, who possesses authority over these plagues, and they did not repent to give him esteem. (25:13). I shall bring on that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, all that is written in this book which Yirmiyahu has prophesied concerning all the nations. For they too shall be enslaved by many nations and great sovereigns. And I shall repay them according to their deeds and according to the works of their hands. For thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel to me, Take this wine cup of wrath from my hand, and make all the nations to whom I send you drink it. And they shall drink and shake and go mad because of the sword that I am sending upon them. Then I took the cup from the hand of Yahweh and made all the nations drink to whom Yahweh had sent. And the fifth messenger poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his reign became darkened, and they gnawed their tongues from pain. And they blasphemed the Elohim of the heavens for their pains and their sores, and did not repent of their works, namely Jerusalem, and in the cities of Yehuda, and its sovereigns, its heads, to make them a ruin, an object of astonishment, a hissing, and a curse, as it is this day. Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and his servants and his heads, and all his people, and all the mixed multitudes, and all the sovereigns of the land of Uz, and the sovereigns of the lands of the Philistines, even Ashkelon, and Azza, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod, Edom, and Moab, and the children of Ammon, and all the sovereigns of Sor, and all the sovereigns of Sidon, and all the sovereigns of the coastlands which are beyond the sea. And the sixth messenger poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, in order to prepare the way of the sovereigns from the east. And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits as frogs, for they are the spirits of demons, doing signs which go out to the sovereigns of the entire world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of Yahweh the Almighty. Dedan and Tema, and Booz, and all who were in the farthest corners, and all the sovereigns of Arabia, and all the sovereigns of the mixed multitude who dwell in the wilderness, and all the sovereigns of Zimri, and all the sovereigns of Elam, and all the sovereigns of the Medes, and all the sovereigns of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the reigns of the earth which are on the face of the ground. Also the sovereign of Sheshach shall drink after them. And you say to them, Thus said Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, Drink, be drunk, and vomit. Fall and rise no more because of the sword which I am sending among you. And I saw a woman drunk with the blood of the set apart ones, and with the blood of the witnesses of Yeshua. And having seen her, I marveled, greatly marveled. The messenger said to me, Why did you marvel? Let me explain to you the secret of the woman and of the beast she rides, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. For look, I am beginning to bring evil upon the city which is called by my name. And should you be entirely unpunished? You are not going unpunished, for I am calling for a sword on all the inhabitants of the earth, declares Yahweh of hosts. Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And you shall say, Thus says the Master Yahweh, See, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. And I shall turn you around, and I shall put hooks into your jaws, and shall lead you out with all your army, horses and horsemen, clad perfectly, a great assembly with armor and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all its bands, the house of Togarmah, from the far north, and all its bands, many people with you. Be ready, prepare yourself, you and all your assemblies that are assembled into you, and you shall be a guard for them. After many days you shall be called up. In the latter years you shall be called. In the latter years you shall come into the land of those brought back from the sword and gathered from many people on the mountains of Israel, which have been a continual waste. But they brought out of the peoples, and all of them shall dwell safely. And you shall go up, coming like a storm, covering the land like a cloud, you and all your bands, and many peoples with you. Thus said the Master Yahweh. And it shall be in that day that words arise in your heart, and you shall devise an evil plan. And you shall say, Let me go up against the land of unwalled villages. Let me go to those at rest who dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take plunder and to take booty, to stretch out your hand against the waste places that are again inhabited, and against the people gathered from the peoples acquiring livestock and goods who dwell in the middle of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and all their young lions shall say to you, Have you come to take plunder? Have you gathered your army to take booty, to bear away silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, to take great plunder? Therefore, son of man, prophesy, and you shall say to Gog, Thus said the Master Yahweh, In that day when my people Israel dwell safely, would you not know? And you shall come from your place out of the far north, you and many peoples with you, all of you riding on horses, a great assembly and a mighty army. And you shall come against my people Israel like a cloud, to cover the land. In the latter day it shall be. And I shall bring you against my land, in order that the nations know me, when I am set apart in you, O Gog, before their eyes. You shall prophesy against them all these words, and say to them, Yahweh roars from on high, and utters his voice from his set apart dwelling place. He roars mightily over his fold, a shout as those who tread the grapes, against all the inhabitants of the earth. Tumult shall come to the ends of the earth, for Yahweh has a controversy with the nations. He shall enter into judgment with all flesh. The wrong he shall give to the sword, declares Yahweh. And the sixth messenger poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water dried up, in order to prepare the way of the sovereigns from the east. And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, three unclean spirits as frogs. For they are spirits of demons doing signs which go out to the sovereigns of the entire world to gather them to the battle of that great day of Yahweh the Almighty. See, I am coming as a thief. Blessed is he who is staying awake and guarding his garments, lest he walk naked and see his shame. And they gathered them together to the place called in Hebrew Har Megiddo. Zechariah 12:11. In that day, the mourning in Jerusalem is going to be great, like the mountain at Hadad Ramon in the valley of Megiddo. After all this, when Yoshiahu had prepared the house, Necho, sovereign of Mitzrayim, came up to fight against Carchemish by the Euphrates. Yoshiahu went out against him. And he sent messengers to him, saying, What have I to do with you, sovereign of Yehuda? I am not coming against you this day, but against the house with which I am fighting. For Elohim commanded me to make haste. Leave Elohim alone who is with me, lest he destroy you. However, Yoshiahu would not turn his face from him, but disguised himself to fight against him, and did not listen to the words of Necho from the mouth of Elohim, and came to fight in the valley of Megiddo. And the archers shot at sovereign Yoshiahu, and the sovereign said to his servants, Take me away, for I am severely wounded. And the seventh messenger poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the dwelling place of the heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there came to be noises and thunders and lightning, and there came to be a great earthquake, such a mighty and great earthquake as had not come to be since men were on the earth. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, See, evil is going forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind is raised up from the farthest places of the earth. And in that day the slain of Yahweh shall be from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented or gathered or buried, for they are dung on the face of the ground. Howl, you shepherds, and cry, and roll yourselves in the ashes, you leaders of the flock. For the days of your slaughter and your scatterings are completed, and you shall fall like a choice vessel. And the great city became divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babel was remembered before Elohim to give her cup of the wine of the fierceness, to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And a place of refuge shall perish from the shepherds, and escape from the leaders of the flock. Hear the cry of the shepherds and a wailing of the leaders of the flock, for Yahweh is ravaging their pasture. And the pastures of peace shall be cut down because of the burning displeasure of Yahweh. And you shall come up against my people Israel like a cloud to cover the land in the latter days it shall be. And I shall bring you against my land in order that the nations know me, when I am set apart in you, O God, before their eyes. Thus said the Master Yahweh, Are you the one I spoke of in former days by my servants the prophets of Israel, who prophesied for years in those days to bring you against them? And it shall be on that day, on the day when God comes against the land of Israel, declares the Master Yahweh, that my wrath shall come upon in my face. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath I have spoken. On that day, there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fish of the sea, and the birds of the heavens, and the beasts of the fields, and all creeping creatures that creep on the earth, and all men who are on the face of the earth, shall shake at my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall fall to the ground. And I shall call for a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the Master Yahweh, the sword of each one being against his brother. And I shall judge him with pestilence and blood, and rain down flooding rain and hailstones, fire and sulfur on them and on his bands and on the many peoples who are with him. And I shall exalt myself and set myself apart, and I shall be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. And you, son of man, prophesy against Gog, and you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahweh. See, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal, and shall turn you around and lead you on, and bring you up from the uttermost parts of the north, and bring you against the mountains of Israel, and shall strike the bow of your left hand, and make the arrows fall from your right hand. On the mountains of Israel you shall fall, you and all your bands, and the peoples who are with you. To the bird of prey of every wing, and to the beasts of the field I shall give you for food. On the face of the field you shall fall, for I have spoken, declares the Master Yahweh. And I shall send fire upon Magog, and on those who live undisturbed in the coastlands, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. And I shall make my set apart name known in the midst of my people Israel. Not let my set apart name be profaned any more. And the nations shall know that I am Yahweh, the set apart one in Israel. See, it shall come, and it shall be done, declares the Master Yahweh. This is the day which I have spoken. And those who inhabit the cities of Israel shall go out and set fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and armor, the bows and arrows, the clubs and spears, and they shall make fires with them for 7 years, and take no wood from the field, nor cut down any from the forest, for with the weapons they make fire. And they shall plunder those who plundered them, and loot those who looted them, declares the Master Yahweh. And great hail from the heavens fell upon men, every hailstone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed Elohim for the plague of the hail, because that hail was exceedingly great. Like a lion he shall leave his hiding place, for their land shall become a waste because of the sword of oppressors, and because of his burning displeasure. Keep in mind the time cycle here. And it shall be on that day that I give Gog a place for a burial site, there in Israel, the valley of those passing by east of the sea, and stopping those passing by. Because there they shall bury Gog and all his crowd, and shall call it the valley of Hamon-Gog. Hamon-Gog. And the house of Israel shall bury them for 7 new moons, in order to cleanse the land. And all the people of the land shall bury them. And it shall be for a name to them on the day that I am esteemed, declares the Master Yahweh. And they shall separate men who continually pass through the land, burying those who were passing through, those left on the surface of the ground in order to cleanse it. At the end of 7 new moons they shall search, and those passing through shall pass through the land. And when anyone sees a man's bone, he shall set up a sign beside it till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamon-Gog. And also, a city of Hamonah shall be there, so they shall cleanse the land. And you, O son of man, thus said the Master Yahweh, say to the bird of every wing, and to the beast and to every beast of the field. Assemble yourselves together, gather from all around to my slaughterings, which I am slaughtering for you, a great slaughtering on the mountains of Israel. And you shall eat the flesh and drink blood. Eat the flesh of the mighty, drink the blood of the princes of the earth, and rams and lambs and goats and bulls, all of them fatlings of Bashan. You shall eat fat till you are filled, and drink blood till you are drunk at my slaughterings, which I am slaughtering for you. You shall be satisfied at my table, with horses and riders, with mighty men, and with all the men of battle, declares the Master Yahweh. And one of the seven messengers who had the seven bowls came and spoke with me, saying to me, Come, I shall show you the judgment of the great whore sitting on many waters, with whom the sovereigns of the earth committed whoring, and the inhabitants of earth were made drunk with the wine of her whoring. And he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, covered with names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was dressed in purple and scarlet, and adored with gold and precious stones and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup filled with abominations and the filthiness of her whoring. And upon her forehead a name written, a secret, Babel the Great, the mother of the whores and the abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the set apart ones, and with the blood of the witnesses of Yeshua. And having seen her, I marveled, greatly marveled. And the messenger said to me, Why did you marvel? Let me explain to you the secret of the woman, and of the beast she rides, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that you saw was, and is not, and is about to come up out of the pit of the deep, and goes to destruction. And those dwelling on the earth, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, shall marvel when they see the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And I shall set my esteem among the nations, and all nations shall see my judgment, which I have executed, and my hand which I have laid on them. And the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahweh their Elohim from that day onward. And the nations shall know that the house of Israel went into exile for their crookedness, because they have trespassed against me, and that I hid my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their adversaries, and they all fell by the sword. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgression, I have dealt with them, and hidden my face from them. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahweh, Now I am going to bring back the captives of Jacob, and I shall have compassion on all the house of Israel, and I shall be jealous for my set apart name. And they shall have borne their shame and all their trespass they committed against me, when they dwell safely in their own land, with none to make them afraid. When I have brought them back from the peoples and gathered them out of the lands of their enemies, and I shall be set apart in them before the eyes of many nations. And they shall know that I am Yahweh their Elohim, who sent them into exile among the nations, and then gathered them back to their own land, and left none of them behind. And no longer do I hide my face from them, for I shall have poured out my spirit on the house of Israel, declares the Master Yahweh. Here is the mind having wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 sovereigns, 5 have fallen, and one is, and the other has not yet come. Here is the mind having wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. So what we're looking at here is mountains. It's mountains. They're not singular. And there are 7 sovereigns. 5 have fallen, and 1 is, and the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he has to remain a little while. Dubai. This is from Wikipedia. The most populous city in the United Arab Emirates and the capital of the Emirate of Dubai. Click on the United Arab Emirates. Also known as the Emirates, is a country in West Asia situated at the eastern end of the Arabian Peninsula. A peninsula is a piece of land that has water on 3 sides. It is a federal, semi-constitutional monarchy made up of 7 emirates, with Abu Dhabi serving as its national capital. The UAE borders Oman to the east and northeast, and Saudi Arabia to the south and southwest. It shares maritime borders with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Iran in the Persian Gulf, and with Oman in the Gulf of Oman. In 2024, the UAE had an estimated population of over 11 million. Dubai is the country's largest city. Islam is the state religion. Arabic is the official language, while English remains the most spoken language and the language of business. And the beast that was and is not is himself also the 8th, and is of the 7, and goes to destruction. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 sovereigns who have not yet received a reign, but receive authority as sovereigns with the beast for 1 hour. They have one mind, and they shall give their power and authority to the beast. They shall fight with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is master of masters, and sovereign of sovereigns. And those with him are called and chosen and trustworthy. And he said to me, the waters which you saw, where the horse sits, are peoples and crowds and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, these shall hate the whore, and lay her waste and naked, and eat her flesh and burn her with fire. In the 25th year of our exile at Rosh Hashanah, on the 10th of the new moon in the 14th year after the city was stricken, On that same day, the hand of Yahweh came upon me, and he brought me there. In the vision of Elohim, he brought me into the land of Israel and set me on a very high mountain. And upon it, toward the south, was as the structure of a city. So he brought me there, and look, a man whose appearance was like the appearance of bronze, and a line of flax and a measuring rod in his hand, and he stood in the gateway. And the man said to me, Son of man, see with your eyes and hear with your ears, and set your heart on all that I am showing you. For you were brought here in order to show them to you. Declare to the house of Israel all that you are seeing. And look, a wall all around the outside of the house, and in the man's hand a measuring rod, 6 cubits long, each being a cubit and a handbreadth. And he measured the width of the wall structure, 1 rod, and the height 1 rod. Then he came to the gate facing east, and he went up its stairs and measured the threshold of the gate, 1 rod wide, and the other threshold 1 rod wide. And a little room, 1 rod long and 1 rod wide, and between the little rooms a space of 5 cubits, and the threshold of the gate inwards from the porch of the gate was 1 rod. For Elohim did give it into their hearts to do his mind, to be of one mind, and to give their reign to the beast until the words of Elohim shall be accomplished. And the woman whom you saw is that great city having sovereignty over the sovereigns of the earth. I guess Yahweh is going to downtrodden a great city. Then he can build a new one. This concludes tonight's reading. Praise Yahweh.